Welcome to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. It's Phil, and I'm here to be your guide to South America's biggest country. You like that? That's OG intro. Back when I used to do the intro, all kind of like a news show. And guys, I am so excited to be back with you. It's another Monday night. Tonight we are talking Minas Gerais. It's a state that we talk a lot about on this channel because they're wonderful people. If you come to Brazil, if you come to São Paulo even, in Rio, Mineiros are everywhere. And they're very friendly. They got very good food. And tonight I got somebody on who is a friend of mine who is not Mineira. She made that very clear that she's not Mineira. She was born in São Paulo, lives in São Paulo, but she has a lot of ties to Minas Gerais. She's up there in Minas a lot. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that and what her life has been like here in São Paulo, work, living, everything, guys. You know how we do on the Expat Journal. We try to just keep it very open. But before we get to her, and then I'll introduce her properly, I do want to say thank you guys for watching the show that I did on Saturday. The philosophy, this new idea that I got going on. It was a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody that's joined the channel. And I want to say something really cool happened to me, before we get going. Guys, I have my Instagram channel. I ask you guys to follow it all the time. Please follow me on Instagram at PhilRayOFC if you really want to know what is going on in Phil's life, because I know you guys ask me questions. In fact, Life Is had left a comment about the Brazilian movies. We did a show about Brazilian movies. And he said, hey, watching these Brazilian movies could probably help me with my Portuguese. And I was like, yeah, they could. But also, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm posting all the time. And guys, I posted this just the other day, I think last night. And it's a version of Seal's song Crazy that I did with the band. And you'll see here, if you roll down the likes, Seal liked my song. Not only did Seal like it, he shared it on his stories, guys. So I was really excited about that. So thank you. Yeah, and if you want to go check that out, that's the version. I mean, I guess I can play a little bit of it. Through my head, one of them has got a gun to shoot the other one. Great song, right? So I was very happy about that today as I was leaving work, getting that news. So that's the news portion of the show. But now let's get to the guest portion of the show. So Karen, let me tell you a little bit about her. She, like I said, is originally from São Paulo, but she's got a rich family roots in Minas Gerais, where she spends a lot of her time. Professionally, Karen is an author. She's written a book. In fact, that's how I met her when she released the book eons ago. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. But she's also an English teacher. She's a Portuguese teacher, and she works with yoga. In fact, she's been to India. I want to ask her a little bit about that, her trip to India, how she brings yoga into São Paulo, into Brazil. There's a lot for us to cover, guys. So let's not keep you waiting. Where is my girl, Karen? How are you? You are on the air live. What's going on, Karen?
Well, I'm so happy that you actually invited me finally, Phil. Because
finally, I know, because I promised this would happen like 5 years ago. Guys, yeah.
Yes, so I'm really happy to be here, and hopefully I will, teach a little bit about Minas Gerais because it is a great state.
It is. I mean, just off the bat, give me why, as a Brazilian, because you were born and raised here, you speak great English, you've lived in the States, if I'm not mistaken, but you're Brazilian, raiz. What is it about Minas Gerais that, even Brazilians love Minas? Can you give us the short version?
I think it's the food, the people. The people are very friendly.
Yes.
And what else? I think that mostly people talk a lot about the food. And I love the food there and the places, because it is a special place for you to visit. There are many great places to go because it is a very big state. So you have different things to do. Yeah. So I think that these are some of the reasons that I think a lot of people enjoy going there.
Yeah, there's a lot to explore. I've spoken on the channel a lot about the trip that I took to Salvador Bahia by bus. And the majority of that trip was just crossing Minas Gerais. It's a 33-hour
Exactly.
trip. At least 20 something of those hours were spent
Yeah.
just crossing Minas. It's a very big state. We'll show that on the map in a little bit. So guys, yeah, that's the thing that I think connects a lot of people. The food and just the friendliness. It's a very
Mhm.
hospitable place. You know, in America we have something called the Southern comfort or Southern hospitality that people talk about. I think the
Mhm.
Mineiros have that style. A lot of my dear honey, come here, eat some more, eat some more.
Yes, like
but
that. Exactly.
but
Exactly.
tell me, are your both of your parents, are they from Minas? How was your connection with Minas? Did you grow up at all over there, or were you just straight to São Paulo?
No, I was born in São Paulo, so I'm Paulistana. But my
Mm-hmm.
mom, she is from the state of São Paulo, so she's Paulista, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad's a Mineiro. So, but
Oh,
I
okay.
grew up in São Paulo state, and I left to go to study in the U.S. when I was 16. So
Mm.
I really lived in Minas only 1 year before I left, and then a year and a half when I came back. But I go there all the time because my family is still there.
I got you. And what part of Minas do you usually stay at?
Belo Horizonte.
Belo Horizonte. Okay, so Belo Horizonte, guys, is, as you can see here, I'm going to try to share this. Let's see if Phil can do the technology. By the way, guys, if you're missing a voice, which is Peter, he'll be on. Tonight we came on a little bit earlier because Karen's an early bird. So we changed the time around a little bit. So if you see this, we started at 9:30 p.m. this evening.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
Not a problem. But Pete will be on in a second. But you can see there, look at the difference even. Because Sao Paulo is huge. Sao Paulo, you can fit like a whole European nation inside of Sao Paulo. Most of the Brazilian states you can, like Mato Grosso. But Minas just takes it to the next level, guys. Look at the size of that state. So that's what I said. When you're going up to Salvador, you're just going up, 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 up. Until you get to Salvador's like this little little part of the trip. You know, you got to go through a lot of Minas before you get to Salvador. Um, so you spent this a little bit of time there. You go to Belo Horizonte a lot. So when you're going to Minas, like what are your first things? You know, if you're thinking my first time in Minas Gerais, Belo Horizonte, which is the capital, guys, it's a big city here. We can look at a little bit of it on Google Maps. What should be your like the attitude when you go there? To be laid back, like how is it?
Yes, I think that this is one thing that is much different than São Paulo. São Paulo is it's like a big city, so a lot of stress and all that. And when you get to Minas, it's almost like when you get to Bahia, you have to relax. If you don't, you go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So when foreigners come, I think that a lot of people get a little bit frustrated when they go there because it's very slow. But the other day, I met actually a Russian guy there, and he said there is no difference between Minas and São Paulo. I still think that there is a great difference between how we move in São Paulo and how we move in Minas. In Minas, everything has to be a little bit slower, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not as slow as Bahia, but it's pretty slow. So you have
Yeah, and
to
I
be laid back.
yeah, and I get what he's saying because if you're looking at these pictures, I mean, it's a modern city. It's a big city. I think Belo Horizonte, if I'm not mistaken, is about 1 million people or so. You can see there the skyline. It's beautiful. It kind of reminds you of like the size of Campinas, which is a nice city in São Paulo, which also has more of a laid back feel. It's a little bit more in the countryside. Um, but I can get what he's saying. You know, it's not like when you go to Salvador or even I imagine Karen, if you go to these smaller cities like those historic cities like Ouro Preto and all those, then I'm
Mhm.
sure it's like super, you know, 100% super slow. So you
Yeah.
get a little bit of that. But do you just stay in Belo Horizonte or do you go to any other places when you're there
Okay,
in Minas?
lately I haven't been going, other
Mm.
in other places, but I used to go a lot. I love Ouro Preto. Ouro Preto is
Mm.
like one of my favorite places to go. And it's only 1 hour from Belo Horizonte.
Hmm.
So Ouro Preto is like a historical town. It's very beautiful, and as you can see, there are a lot of churches and a lot of hills. So you have to, one thing that I really recommend that you go with a nice shoes that are like not very slippery, because if it rains, forget it. You can't, it's like soap on the floor, on the ground. But it's very, very nice. And it's only 1 hour from Belo Horizonte. So you can go there and just have lunch there and come back.
Yeah, I've heard of this town. There's a lot of excursions to Ouro Preto. By the way, what's up, Travelmatic, fan of the show? Love Travelmatic. He's been on the show a few times, and he says, I'm here for my dose of Brazil. He got the message that we're coming on early. I bet you, Karen, a bunch of people are going to start coming on around 10 o'clock. But we shall see. We shall see. But thank you for Thank you for joining us, Travelmatic. Tonight, we are talking Minas Gerais a little bit. We're going to start the show talking a little bit about Minas, places to go. And then we're just going to really find out about Karen. Who is Karen? Why, is she on the show? Guys, she's on the show because she's incredible. She's a wonderful person, and she's got a lot of information, a lot of cool stuff to share with you. So we will get to that in a minute. But I'm fascinated with Minas. Can you believe this, Karen? I've been here for almost 20 years and I've yet to actually go to Minas. Like
really?
I've driven through Minas, but I've never actually just stopped there to say, hey, I'm gonna just hang out in Minas Gerais. Now, you talked about the food. What's so special about the food? Let me put here, Mineiro food. What's going on with the food in Minas Gerais? What's the type of food that you're going to find, et cetera, et cetera? Fill us in.
Okay. First of all, like if anybody, I think that everybody that comes to Brazil, they love cheese bread, right? Pão de queijo.
Pão de queijo.
And the best pão de queijo is, of course, in Minas because it is from Minas. Yes. So, and you can get in different places, but I have a special place that I love that is... not in Belo Horizonte, but it's called Barbacena. It's my dad's hometown. Mm-hmm. And they have this place there that is very well known. There are a lot of people that goes to Rio, they will stop in this place. And now the name of this place is Roselanches. Okay. Roselanches.
And was it in Barbacena?
In Barbacena, yeah. And yes, this is, for me, is the best cheese bread in Brazil. Okay.
Really?
And yes. And they are huge and it's really, really nice.
Man, they put meat inside this. Oh my God, that's the next level.
Yes. Well, actually nowadays they have a lot of places that they sell stuffed cheese bread, like almost like a sandwich. But in this place they have, I think that the cheese bread is nice with the meat, but it's actually bread. The sandwich is better, just the normal bread. But the cheese bread there is really, really nice. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing is that they have like feijão tropeiro, which is a little bit different than, it's a little bit drier. And I think feijão tropeiro, foreigners might not like it because a lot of foreigners, they don't like farinha. Farinha that we have, farinha de mandioca, the manioc flour. So I think that they might not like so much, but this is very typical of Minas Gerais. Feijão tropeiro. What else?
I love the feijão tropeiro. Now, you can see here, guys, Travelmatic, Karen, he asked a question. Is Minas Gerais the barbecue capital of Brazil?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that would be in the south,
in the
right?
South. Yeah, definitely the south.
I think that would be Rio Grande do Sul. By the way, guys,
if you say that to a gaúcho, they will be very upset.
Yeah, they will kill you guys. By the way, guys, of course, I've been doing this show for 97 times I've done this show, and I still get it wrong, and I totally forgot to give Pete the right link. Because, guys, this is what happened. I set up the studio, and my computer was really slow, so I just restarted the computer. So everything I had to start from scratch. So the link that I had sent to Pete, and I was so proud, Karen, because I did it early, 6 p.m., I don't have to rush. And then I get on and I forgot to send Pete the new link because the other studio crashed and everything happened. And anyway, Pete's here. What's up, man? Let's just say hi to Pete real quick and then we'll get back to Karen. What you doing, Pete? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
There he is. What's up, Pete? Sorry about that. All right. So, Pete, we're just talking some Minas Gerais. You've never been to Minas, have you, Pete? Are you a fan of Mineiro food? Anything Minas related with you?
No, not really. I'm a fan of the work I get there from the mining industry, but
Oh,
Mhm.
yes. That's
Mhm.
great that you brought that up, guys, because that is actually the name of the state is Minas, which translates to mines. So,
General Mines.
exactly, the general mines. That is where a lot of the mining is going on. And here you go, Travelmatic.
Nickel is mined there quite a bit.
Ah, and there's Rio Grande do Sul, by the way, guys. This is the Gaúchos. They are the guys that Karen said will beat you up if you say that Minas has the best barbecue. Minas has the best everything else, though. Although I'm
Mhm.
interested in this. Have you seen this, Pete? Look at this. There's some
And
cheese
Casacho, they're
breads.
famous for Casacho too, right?
Yes, cachaça.
Yes,
Karen's not a
exactly.
drinker, but what you can tell us about cachaça, Karen?
Okay, that's my dad is a specialty, and and
Hmm.
he says the best one is in Minas. And actually, I happen to buy the best cachaça for him without even knowing about it. It is let me try to remember. It's a small town there, but I can't remember right now. And my dad said that this was the best cachaça that he had ever had in his life. And I just bought it because I didn't have anything else to give to him on Father's Day. So, but
Nice.
many of the ones that people buy, my dad says not so good, but this one, he swears that is the best one.
Oh, you
I
got to
have
tell me
to
what it
remember.
is, because I am
I
a
know.
connoisseur. I mean, if you want to start, guys, I always say if you want to start easy but with quality, go with Espírito de Minas. It's a big company, so it's not like that artisanal flavor, but it's going to be better than like 51 and Velho Barreiro, which is like gasoline.
Oh no, those
So,
are
yeah,
bad.
yeah, but if you want to start with the better quality ones, I think Espírito de Minas is 100%. I bought it as gifts for a lot of people. It's an easy one. And then you start getting into the craft cachaças, guys. It's like a road without end. I'm actually a fan of this company, Santa Terezinha Cachaça. I always give them a big up, but they're not from Minas. They're from Espírito Santos, and this is my favorite cachaça that they make. This kind of cinnamon flavored one. Good lord! So if your dad likes cachaças, Karen, let me know because these guys deliver, and this cachaça is from another planet. This one,
Mm.
and I think I've had the jazz one, which is really good. They've won a lot of awards. This place.
Uh,
So guys,
Well, I found
Minas.
the
Go ahead.
one for you. It's called
Tell
Bento
me.
Velho. Bento
Hmm,
Velho.
hmm.
It's from a place called Conceição do Mato Dentro.
Ooh, wow, nice bottle. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
look for this one. I'm
yeah.
definitely gonna look. We got a lot of places down here in São Paulo that sell a lot of artisanal cachaça. In Budas Artes, in fact, which I was planning to go with Eduardo this weekend. So I had the green cachaça, kind of minty. Yeah, guys, you start going into flavors. There's jabuticaba cachaça. There's every type of flavor cachaça. Seriously, it's incredible, especially if you go down to in Budas Artes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sounds Eagle das Artes, you're gonna see a lot of these if you're in São Paulo. Yeah, look at this. I love we go in there and you can taste test a lot of these and just blah. There's a lot of variations, guys. There's a lot. Karen, I need
Mm.
to know. Curious minds want to know. Okay, so you don't spend a lot of time in Minas. You spend more of your time in São Paulo. Can you tell us why? Is it for work reasons? Like, because a lot of I'm hitting the mic here, guys. Sorry about that. A lot of people that move to São Paulo or move to Brazil and they want to get outside of the big capitals. Rio de
Mhm.
Janeiro, São Paulo, Salvador, even to an extent. But they're like a little bit afraid to go to these smaller cities because they're like, is there enough work? What am I gonna do? Is there like a nightlife? So can you tell us a little bit about that and if that at all influences your decision to live in São Paulo and just visit Minas?
No, I think it's because if you, I think that when people live abroad at some point of their lives, I think São Paulo is much easier to adapt. We have everything. We can, if you
Yes.
want to buy things, food and restaurants, and in Minas, you have good Mineiro food. But if you want to find the different types of food like São Paulo, it's almost there is no other city like São Paulo in terms of restaurants in Brazil.
Yeah.
So, if you want to, go to a Greek restaurant, you can find Thai food. Of course, they are not cheap, but you can find. And in Belo Horizonte, it's more difficult to find this kind of different places to go. You have some Indian restaurants, but maybe few of them. So I don't know. I love living in São Paulo, except for the violence. But
Yeah.
everything else, and it is not like the most violent city in Brazil, considering the
Not even
population.
close.
Yes, exactly. But this is the one thing that I would like to be better. But other than that, I love living here.
No, it's a great metropolitan city. And I want to get into a little bit of your life here. I just got one last question about Minas,
Mhm.
which a lot of people have said to me, and I want to get your perspective, is that it's a great big metropolitan city, like we just saw the pictures of Belo Horizonte. But they're like, one thing that kind of sucks about it sometimes is that it still has a bit of a provincial mindset, like a little conservative. It's like the farm mentality. It
Yes,
just happens to be in a big city, you know.
yes,
But you didn't take the farm mentality out of the farmers. Just they built buildings.
exactly.
Okay, so this
Yes.
is true. Can you describe that in a way, like how that is? Is it real intense or is it light? How is that?
I think it's like this. They're a little bit more, they have their own groups. So unless you have someone to take you in, it's more difficult. But if you're like my brothers say, if you are a foreigner, you are much more welcome than if you are Brazilian coming from another state. So like my brothers, they grew up there, so they have
True.
their own groups and everything. So it's much easier. But for me, coming from the outside, is more
Mhm.
difficult to get in. Do you understand? Because of this, I think they have
I
this
get you.
mentality of small towns. Yeah. So in São Paulo, almost
Yes.
everybody here is from
Mhm.
other places. So they're more,
Yes.
they know what you're going through, as opposed to there. Do you
Mhm.
understand?
Well, that makes sense. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and here we got a little bit of all the different places that you can go in Minas. And guys, I will very soon be taking a lot more trips. And first on my list is Minas, and it's for the nature too. There's so many natural
Mm-hmm.
landscapes there. I had a friend of mine from high school that is a photographer. He came down here to take just night shots, the sky in
Yeah.
Minas. It was amazing stuff, amazing stuff. Um, so yeah, guys, there's a lot to explore in this state. Hopefully, I will be there soon and give you firsthand knowledge. But now I want to get to Karen. You down here in São Paulo. What's going on with Karen in São Paulo? Let me put this picture back up. Let me see if I can find it. Check this out, Pete. You're gonna like this picture. Old school picture. Where is it? Where is it? Let me stop sharing and then share again. Because I met Karen through a group. In fact, I'm live streaming into it, Peter. Although there's nobody on at the moment, which is Worldwide Expats, which is a wild group we had back in the day for a lot of the people living down here in Brazil. And, Karen and I were always friendly in the group. And then she invited me one night to go see her book launch, and I was just at a book launch last week. I posted that on my Instagram, and I posted that I love book launches. I love book launches as much as I love reading, sometimes even more. I just love the electricity of it. And she wrote this book about digital dating in the digital era. Now, I want to ask you one, what was up with that? Because it seemed like you were going into this author path and then you kind of let it go. And do you still deal with stuff like that, with dating, with stuff therapeutical, giving advice? What was that moment?
No, it's actually a lot of people, I wrote the book because there was a lot of prejudice against dating sites at the time, right? So when
Yes,
I
different
wrote, like,
world.
and I came back to Brazil, and people used to say, "Oh, how can you do that?" And even my brother said, "You don't need this stuff. Why are you doing this?" And I said, "Because it's nice to meet people like this." And I the first time I joined was because my ex-husband told me to join. He said, "It's
Hmm.
really nice." And the first time I said, "I'm not desperate." And then my friend told me about it, and I thought, it's nice when I travel, because I travel a lot. So, wow, Phil, you have very old pictures for sure.
I know. I
So
still have this
then,
book in my house. I should have gotten it to show on camera. I still have this book. I read it
that's
back to back.
nice.
I love it. You wrote a little message in there for me. I
So
still got
I
it.
started writing just like notes because my friends used to ask me about how is to use the dating sites, but
Yes.
they were, I was like, oh my God, I have to tell again. So I started writing, and then it became a book. So I'm not like a writer. I just happened to write this, and my friend said, you should put this as, publish this. And then I got a publishing company, and they published this book. So, yeah.
Cool, cool. That's just how you do it.
But it's like a manual, it's a manual, like how
I
to use
know,
the dating sites.
but you know something, because we talk a lot
Mm.
about dating on this site. We have a friend of the show called Renee, and she's a sex therapist. In fact, it'd be great if
Yes,
you and her could come
I
in.
saw her
Oh,
interview. Yeah.
you guys should
Well,
come together and talk
mm,
about this because it's a topic a lot of people ask about. And it's funny how the world has changed so much because, yeah, back in the day, when you released this, there was prejudice. It's like, oh, if you're going into a dating site, you must be really a loser. You can't get any dates,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
And now, who goes out
It's
on
not
like
really a
who?
new concept, though.
Yeah.
What? Tell us.
It's
What?
not a new concept, though. Like even as far back as like the '60s, they had like computer dating services where okay, you weren't online, but you went into an office and you filled out a
Yeah, but
questionnaire,
we're not
and the
saying it didn't
computer matched
exist.
you up with someone.
Yeah, but we're
Yeah.
not saying it didn't exist. We're just saying there was a prejudice against it of like, oh, you must be a loser to have to go through all of that just to get a date. Whereas now it's like who actually goes out and meets people in bars anymore? It's very few, it's not part of the culture. Now everybody's on Tinder, everybody's on
Mhm.
Bump, whatever the site is. So it's changed a lot. So I don't know, Karen. I think you should do a part two to this book. How the world has changed. What is dating culture like, especially digital dating, guys? And I would love to do an episode on that, Pete, because you've been through it, Pete. You've been on the Tinders and everything. It's wacky down here, knowing how to deal with people on these, how to meet people in
Yeah.
Brazil, São Paulo. We've talked a lot about being in the relationship, but I don't think we've ever actually talked about how to get into one. So I would love to invite Karen back to talk about that because that would be really fun and funny too. We could talk about all our miserable exes.
I don't know. I don't say that. I always think that it improves one by one. Do you understand?
Anyway,
So,
guys. So Karen, she did that, but we stayed in touch. So you can see here's a flashback picture, and rest in peace, Watif. Over here, we went to a Philly restaurant, a place that was serving, still around, by the way. I want to try it again, Karen, because it's
mhm,
just like with Indian food, and we'll get to India in a second. Do you remember, Karen, when Indian food first started coming to Brazil, and it was
mhm,
really nasty?
mhm, mhm,
And I remember, speaking of the worldwide expats group that we were on, I'm still on it. It doesn't have the same life that it used to. Um, and I remember I posted like I found some tray, some Indian place that was serving Indian food like on a tray, and you could tell it wasn't good. But I was so happy to just see it, and I posted that in the group, and so many people got mad. They got really triggered. They're like, "How could you say this?" And I'm like, "That's not the point, guys. I'm just happy because I know that if it's here, it's gonna get better because Brazilians know how to cook, and then Indians definitely know how to cook, and it's gonna be like a match made in heaven, and it is. I just had Indian food this weekend, and it's so good now. So there's a lot of things happening in this city, and things just evolving, which is what I love about São Paulo. Now, Karen, you've worked as an English teacher,
mhm.
but you also do Portuguese for foreigners. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I used to do that much more, Portuguese for foreigners and English and yoga all at the same time. And then
Yes.
for a long time, I was just doing strictly English, and then I stopped yoga in the middle of the way in Portuguese.
Okay.
And because I found what I really loved about my life was teaching online. I have been teaching online for the past 15 years or so, much earlier than the pandemic. I
Yes.
started doing online classes a long time ago. And then I started going back to the Portuguese one too, and yoga in a different way. Yoga now is I do retreats, so I have been doing, I started my first yoga retreat last year, but it's not a yoga retreat, it's a retreat with yoga, you know?
This is the
Yeah,
Maitri Center, exactly, that I'm very
yeah,
curious about.
yes.
Because tell us now. Okay, so because we're going a little bit here, a little bit there. So let me
Hmm.
focus this back. Because we
Hmm.
got Karen in São Paulo. She's teaching English. She's teaching online Portuguese. Which, by the way, guys, follow her pages here because I want to dig deep into this yoga stuff because I think it's so cool. So here we got English consultant. We got her place EnglishKaren.com. We got her Instagram Karen.english108, and make sure I am sharing that. But she did mention, and that's what we're going to get right into here, Maitri Center. And I see that she's got these immersions for executives and leaders that want clarity, renovation, equilibrium, or balance, I should say, in your personal and professional journey. How did this come into your life? Like, go back from the beginning. Like, how did yoga become such an integral part of your life? Because it's what I associate you more with than even with the
Hmm.
English teaching and any of that. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
Okay, so I started teaching yoga in India after I graduated in my course there. So they gave me the opportunity to start my, having this experience there before I came back. So then I had a yoga studio and everything, but I started teaching in English online, and I thought, you know what, this is much better because I don't need to pay anymore, to have a studio, which costs a lot of money in São Paulo. But I missed teaching yoga. And I started to think about how can I be in touch with yoga, but not have to have a studio and still bring yoga into my life and lives of other people. Because what I do in my English classes is I teach a lot of executives. So, but I like without telling them, I put yoga in my classes. Do you understand?
Oh, no,
So they
explain.
don't.
No, 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 no. I need the explanation. Are you getting them to say verb to be, like standing on their
No,
head?
no, no,
What is
no, no,
happening?
not like that. But if, for example, if the executive is having some problems, I say, look, I can teach you some breathing exercises, but I don't say I'm going
Mm,
to teach you a pranayama. Okay, a
okay.
pranayama would be, so I just say that is a breathing exercise because it's the same thing as when people talk so much about meditation. They don't accept that. Before they
Mhm.
would not accept that, but then they put this meditation as like a mindfulness. Oh, now it's cool, so
Yes. Yeah.
executives can accept something like mindfulness. Okay,
Hmm.
so that the same way I never say yoga in my class, but in an indirect way I always try to bring things that of, because for me yoga is not exercise. Yoga for me is a way of life. So that's what I try to bring. And then this immersion center, whatever, it came up because I wanted to bring executives to this place that they could feel comfortable and not feel like it's a hippie thing or anything like this, because there is
Hmm.
also a prejudice about this. Okay, so
Yes.
and bringing this kind of lifestyle to executives is a little bit difficult sometimes because they're not willing to accept. But one of my students, actually, he went and he said to me, he was very open about it. He said, if I saw this in any Instagram, I'll never go. But because it's you doing it and I know you for so long, I know that it's going to be good. So he went and I was so impressed. So that's why I really enjoy now, because this was a way I would like to always have things that can change executives' lives. These people who are very stressed out, because I was one of them. I had a
Exactly.
company
Like,
and
how did you end up in India? Like, how did that happen that you ended up in India?
everybody who is lost goes to India. Everybody end up in India. So yeah, I got
That might be
divorced,
me, it might be me
and I
next
ended
year.
up
But
there.
anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so it is like that. So everybody who is like living in India, usually they are lost, so you go there. And I went because I was doing yoga for a long time. And I got divorced, and I thought, what am I going to do? And then I decided to go to India to have some time in India. First time I went, I was just there for 1 month. And then the next time I was there for a year and a half.
Cool. And that's where you really studied yoga hardcore. Then you
Yes.
bring it back to Brazil. And that gets me to something else that I want to ask you about. Because we've had our friend Kimmy on the show, which we love. Okay. And she was talking about Wicca, and
Mm.
religions that are outside of the norm in Brazil. The norm is more
Hmm.
Catholic and evangelical, after that. So I noticed that too. Now, speaking of the Indian food, I
Hmm.
also started to notice how when I first got to Brazil, there were like a few yoga studios. In fact, shout out to Elisa, friend of the show. We did a show in a yoga studio. We did a couple of songs there. It was really nice. Because I studied yoga and I studied more Tai Chi than yoga, but played around a little
Hmm.
bit in the US. So I looked for it down here, something that I'm interested in. And it wasn't always easy to find, or if I found it, it was always in very chic neighborhoods, Villa Madalena
Hmm.
for the elite. Whereas in the US, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's kind of more suburban housewife stuff, but you can find it everywhere. So, how do you think that's changed? Or do you agree that it was a little bit less before and now it's a bit more? Because I feel now that the Indians have started coming, and that started what, about 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, it's become a bit more normative. So can you just expand on that? Tell me if I'm crazy or if I'm kind of onto something here.
No, I think that yoga has expanded a lot some years ago, even before I was here. But it was, and I don't want to mention the name, but it was actually one guy that he expanded the yoga by
Mm-hmm.
making them franchises. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
not that I like his method, but I really think that he made it yoga become like something well known. Okay. But
Yeah.
I really, what I like is, and this is a little bit difficult to find still, and you will find in places like Villa Madalena, are yoga studios that they're a little bit more serious in terms of the way I look at yoga. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the acrobatics or, yesterday, 2 days ago, I saw this guy, he's a yoga teacher too, and he's pretty serious one. And he posted that it was like yoga while you shoot. I'm like, excuse
Oh,
me,
wow.
because yoga is
Right.
totally against is a non-violence, okay? And
Yes.
and then I was like, what is this? So this is like probably the worst thing that I have ever seen in my life. But you have yoga of all kinds of things, right? That they give the name yoga, but it's not. And I think in Brazil, we're having more and more studios that are serious like that, the way I like. I think that especially Santa Catarina has a lot, they have different places with yoga studios that are more the way like of life and not just the exercise. The
I get
exercise
you.
is a very small part of yoga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that. And I think that's why I wasn't too drawn to these studios back in the day. And how much with the Indians coming in, has that influenced a lot of these changes? And another question while you're answering that is, was there ever any prejudice? Because I know sometimes you get this, especially with Wicca and stuff like that. You get a little bit of, oh, she's like you said, one of those hippie weirdos is coming. So how is that? Has that changed? What's going on with that?
Well, I think that in Brazil, that's one thing that I find in Brazil, that is we're very open to many things in terms of like, we have Allan Kardec. I don't know if you're aware,
Oh yes,
Spiritismo,
Spiritism.
right?
Yeah,
Yes,
Spiritism. Yeah.
and this came from France. And
Yeah.
they don't accept this very well there, but we are very open to accept many different religions, like African religion, and mix with you know, you have people with candomblé and all that stuff. So I think Brazil is, maybe they have in some kind of resistance in the beginning, but yoga was always here. I think that maybe you were not very lucky and end up, you know, in different places that are not so, were not so good for you. But
I
I
got
think yoga was always here, and in São Paulo especially, people are very open-minded. But in terms of you know, these different religions and things like that. But of
you.
course, if you go to certain states, no, they are not so open. I think that they always say, right, São Paulo, if you don't make it here, it's like New York City. You don't make it anywhere, because everything here they accept.
I feel you. Yeah, guys, and that makes a big difference. By the way, hello, El Camelo. How are you? I was asking everybody last week, Karen, how do you pronounce your Instagram or your YouTube handles? So thank you for helping me out with that. But he said, Karen, I've heard the saying once in a language book, Mineiro gente boa. What does that mean, Mineiro gente boa?
Good people. The
Yeah,
people from Minas, you know, they're good people. Yeah.
they are good people. Um, But what you said is so important. Even when we were talking, and Camelo and everybody that's tuning in now at 10, we started at 9:30. So we spent a little bit of time at the beginning of the show really digging into Minas. And now we're talking a little bit more about what Karen does here in Sao Paulo, and especially with yoga, which is something different. You know, people don't realize when you come to Brazil, hey, you're going to have options. But Karen said something very important. You got to know where you're at, because not every city is as metropolitan as Sao Paulo or even Rio de Janeiro. Even if you start to get to Minas Gerais, you may be,
Hmm.
wow, surprised that, hey, this city doesn't have as many things as I thought it would for a city of like over 1 million people. So you got to choose wisely depending on what type of lifestyle that you're living. But you can also go to São Tomé das Letras, right?
Mm.
And get really high. That's in Minas, right? Isn't that in Minas Gerais? São Tomé.
Yes, but
Wait.
São Tomé is a different, it's a different, totally different place. I don't know. I heard it has improved, but when I was there, it was a little bit dirty and all that. So I
Oh,
was not very
wow.
impressed with that. The
Yes.
waterfalls were very crowded, and
Mhm.
you know, the pyramid was
Oh, that
like
does
filled
look like.
with cigarette butts, and I don't know. I
Oh
didn't like so much.
no,
Yes,
those
yes.
dirty hippies.
Yeah, but
Very
I
nice.
heard that it has improved, so I don't know. I have not been back, so I don't know. You
Oh
know.
boy, but yes, this place here, guys, is very famous for people just going out there, dropping acid, and just seeing a lot of UFOs and weird stuff. So yeah, I can imagine that it might look a mess after a while. Guys, we're about starting to wrap up, and I told Karen, look, this is only because I really, really, really love Karen, because I never tell my guests this. But at the end of the show, we have the expat challenge, right? And it's 10 questions, real like lightning round, just to get to know you a little bit better, give a little bit of advice on Brazil. I did send this to you, Pete, so you can help me out with that. But I will start with, what is the best thing about Brazil?
The beaches.
Beaches. Yeah,
I love
Brazilian beaches, guys. What's your favorite Brazilian beach?
Batuba.
Ubatuba, which I've heard a lot of nice things about. I've yet to go there, but Ubatuba here is like a little paradise. And it's not that far from São Paulo, right? It's like an hour,
No,
2 hours,
3 hours. No,
3
three
hours.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's right in the middle, right between São Paulo and Rio.
And Rio, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, very,
Very
very
close to Paraty.
beautiful. Look at that, guys! Wow, that's a little heaven. All right, Pete.
Worst thing about Brazil.
The jeitinho brasileiro can be good and bad.
What is the jeitinho brasileiro? Explain to people.
Always finding a way out, and that sometimes they're not so good.
Uh-huh.
And this, I think, because I'm half Japanese, is a little bit difficult for me. I don't really like too much the jeitinho brasileiro. You know, I think
Yeah.
that it's I do everything by the book. So for me, that's a little bit not very good.
I agree with you. The jeitinho, guys, it can get you out of a jam, but it mostly just screws you up. You know, when you really need to get things done. You know, because I'm not gonna lie to you, Karen. I've been here long enough that I realize sometimes you can't fight against the current. So I've used the jeitinho to my benefit, like to be able to rent this house, for example, which I had to go through a real estate agent. I don't have a fiador. I don't have anything. It was jeitinho, man. That's how I got into this house. So if you can learn to manipulate it your way, sometimes it can help you here. But I agree with Karen. It can be a pain in the butt. Next question is, what is your favorite Brazilian food?
That's a difficult thing. Huh? I think pão de queijo is like as a snack, but I don't know. I do like having my rice and beans every day. I do like that.
That's Pete's favorite.
Yeah, good.
No, if I never see rice and beans in my entire life again, it will be too soon.
But you know what? I have now a new diet that I cannot eat rice and beans for a month, so it has not been very good, but I do like it. It's feijoada, you know. I think it's more like feijoada type.
Yeah, oh, feijoada is great, but
Yeah.
My God, so heavy.
Yes, not for every day.
I got you. Go ahead, Pete.
Your least favorite Brazilian food?
Fígado, bife de fígado, liver. I don't like.
I actually like that. I like the here, guys. They have something called acebolado. Cebola is the word for
Onions.
yeah. So anything that's acebolado is gonna just have that sautéed onions on top, and they do that liver with onions here. Good.
It's so dry, though, man.
Yeah, it depends on who's making it. It can get dry on you, but sometimes you get the nice juicy one. I was looking for this video, guys. I'm sorry, I was typing over here because it was so cute. I don't know if you saw it, Karen, on Instagram. It was this little boy, I think in Belo Horizonte, and he sees the moon and he calls it a pão de queijo. And I was like, man, that's like the most mineiro thing ever. And it was so fucking hilarious. Actually, I sent it to a friend of mine, so I might have it. Let's go. What is your favorite Brazilian drink? And there's a lot of drinks. They don't have to be just alcoholic.
Really? I don't know. I'm so boring about this because I don't drink even juice these days, just water. But juices are nice here. Yeah.
I remember you were a juice girl for a while.
Yeah, exactly. I love coffee. I have been like right now I'm really into different types of coffee. And I'm always trying different ones, but I think that this is my drink now. And nowadays, they're not even juice anymore. So, but coconut water.
Yes.
But the real one, not the box one.
Yeah, no. If you here, guys, if you go to the feira, the street markets, you're gonna get this agua de coco. That's what you gotta ask for, agua de coco, and they get it straight from the coconut. Yeah. You don't want to get the box one unless it's an emergency. But you get these ones. Just be careful because these are tourist traps. And they will charge you a lot. They'll charge you like 30 reais for one of these when really they're worth like 10 reais. So just be careful. Go with a Brazilian. Next.
The best place you have visited in Brazil?
In Brazil. Also a tough one. I think Fernando de Noronha.
Oh, tell a little bit about what this is.
This is an island and just off the northeast of Brazil. You have to fly into Natal to get there. And so I like that, but I think for it was just as a territory, right? Not a state, or as a territory, but a Brazilian territory. But it's I think that most Americans are foreigners, and that they love much more the Amazon than maybe Fernando de Noronha. I think that Amazon for foreigners is a much better option because it's every time a foreigner, they visit there, it's always like, oh, it's very vast. So for me, I went there and I didn't like as much as Fernando de Noronha. I prefer Fernando de Noronha.
Yeah, and guys, look at these images again. It's a protected area. It's very expensive to get in there, I think, right?
Yeah.
But for good reasons. So nobody screws the place up. Look at the color
but
of that water.
For a while they were bringing cruises there, and it's not the way it used to be. Yeah.
And there you go. You got the whole islands set up over there. Cool. And now we want to know from you, what is the most overrated location or thing in Brazil, in your opinion?
Sorry, I'm going to get a lot of people complaining, but Rio. I think it's Rio.
Can I tell you that is the number one answer on this show from everybody? So don't
Really?
Other than people from Rio, of course. So many people from Rio. But I think we had one guest that wasn't from Rio, maybe one or two that was like, "Oh no, Rio's great." I was like, "Okay," but anyway, why? Very quickly, why is Rio overrated?
I don't feel safe there. I really don't. Yes, it's a beautiful city, but I don't feel safe at all.
I feel you. All right, go ahead, Pete.
Yeah. What is the best place to chill in your city?
In São Paulo?
Yes.
In the
Well,
park,
I don't know. What do you
Ibirapuera.
consider your city?
Yeah, Ibirapuera.
Ibirapuera Park, one of the most famous parks in the city, in the world. Well, I think it was.
Yeah, if it's accessible to you, I guess.
Yeah. I live very close.
Yeah. If you're around there, I mean, I would be hanging out there every day, but it's actually it's not far from where I live, but it's just not that accessible.
I agree. I haven't been there in a long time because it is a pain in the butt.
But when I am in the area, it's great. They also have that park there, really close to it, the one named after the race car driver, Ayrton Senna, which is also a really nice place to chill. So you can do both at the same time.
Yeah, I think that the Ibirapuera is nice, but on the weekends, I don't recommend going after 9 a.m. It's too crowded. But during the week, it's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And guys, we did an episode on parks. There are a lot of great parks in São Paulo, but I'm down to do another one. But Pete and I live closer to this one, and so I don't go to Ibirapuera a lot because we got this Villa Lobos, which I think is lovely. I love going to Villa Lobos.
I have never been to Villa Lobos.
Man, I know.
It's nice. They have a lot of big events there too, as well.
Exactly. They got this big wheel, and it's funny that you say that because that's just how São Paulo is, guys. Like she lives near the south side of São Paulo. Me and Pete live on the west side of São Paulo, and getting from the west to the south, it's a pain in the butt. Like you got to take a lot of transport, a lot of traffic. Make baldeação, transfers from one metro, or you're gonna pay like a 40 reais, 50 reais Uber, and then it's up to you. If you got the money, do it. But it's funny because we live in the same city and we're just like, because I used to live in Moema, Karen. So I used to be in Ibirapuera every day almost. And I was like, I haven't been there in like 8 years. I don't know. Anyway, let's finish this up. Favorite Brazilian music or band?
I like favorite Brazilian Legião Urbana. It's a rock band. Yeah,
Nacional,
old.
Nacional.
Yes, old.
Yeah.
Yesterday this weekend they had a concert with the old bands from the 80s, and I went there. It was really, really nice, and the Paralamas do Sucesso also. Yeah, so it was very nice.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
guy here,
I
guys.
saw a version of Legion Urbana, like the surviving members. I think it was like the last big stadium concert in Sao Paulo before people realized COVID was actually
Oh,
serious and
really?
we shouldn't be, yeah. So God knows how many people got sick at that show, but but yeah, yeah, the surviving members of Legion Urbano played, and it was a pretty big deal. They weren't even the headlining act, actually. I think Ultrajo Higa were the headlining act, but it was, yeah,
Yeah,
good
I like
show.
Ultraja Rigor too.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Mhm.
Guys, National Rock rocks. I'm not a huge Legion Urbana fan, but I respect them a lot. And Renato Russo, the guy here in the middle,
Mhm.
unfortunately died of AIDS, but great Brazilian poet in the rock era, in the rock arena, I should say. And last thing we want to ask you, because we know Karen is like with one eye open. I think Pete is too. Everybody here's got early mornings, including myself. I got an 8 a.m. class. So to finish up, Karen, one word of advice that you would give to people coming to Brazil.
Patience.
That's it. And she actually
Yeah.
gave literally one word. That's why I love Karen. All right.
Yeah, well, it's
That's
the
it.
same. It's the same for being new to any country, though. Really,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Pete.
Things are not the
Yeah.
way that you are accustomed to,
Accustomed to. Yes.
and
Exactly.
the further down the social development ladder you go, the slower things are and the more patience is required.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yes. But Brazil, I don't know, Pete. I think Brazil just requires an extra level of, because it's funky down here, guys. It's funky. Because here, if you'll probably agree with this, Karen, it's the switcheroo that gets you down here because it seems like everything's going exactly as planned until it isn't. Like I was telling a friend the other day, because I don't know, we were trying to get something going, and it's like, you know how it is in São Paulo, man, or in Brazil, things go very, very, very slow until they don't. Until it's like tomorrow is when you're getting your eye surgery, and you're like, wait, tomorrow? It's like, yeah. So I don't know. That's the part that it's like you got to be patient, man, because until you get used to that, the way that the country swings. Anyway, Karen, I want to
Mm.
thank you for staying up past
Thank
your bedtime.
you. Way past. I'm
Anyway,
glad that I didn't sleep. So that's why I don't drink, Phil. If I drink, I would be sleeping here. So it's good that I don't drink.
okay. All right, very good, very good. Thank you, Pete, for joining in. Sorry, Pete, for giving you the link late. My bad. Thank you, everybody who's watching the channel, sharing the podcast, and commenting. I love you guys. And thank you, everybody that was live. Thanks for joining us a bit earlier. And we may have another guest for the 100th. No, I know we have the guest for the 100th show. He is also coming in a bit early, guys. Another early to bed. So another 9:30 show. But that's coming up like September. But just be aware that we're going to have another 9:30 show in like 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. Other than that, that's it, guys. Love you. I'm going to put my bye-bye music on and say thank you for listening to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. And very soon, guys, we're going to have a retrospective show. We're coming up to 100 episodes. I got a very special guest for the 100th episode. And I got some special coming up. I got a lot of ideas for cool shows. Thank you, those that enjoyed that history, Brazilian history show and really appreciated what I was trying to do with that. That means a lot. And that's it, guys. I mean, until next time, until next Monday, adios.